Like, can you please dress as the senator's wife from Clue for Halloween? We're in a neighborhood now that has families.
I didn't know you pressed record yet.
I always do. Grab your microphone. What are you doing? What are you doing? I already adjusted it to your...
Oopsies.
Oh, God. Did you disconnect it?
No.
I already adjusted it.
But I accidentally pressed the button when I
Oh,
picked it
my
up.
God.
Okay.
Sleep at the switch. This is an unusually timed podcast because usually we record first thing in the morning
Which
or
doesn't-
after a drink.
Well, okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't make sense to record first thing in the morning. Yes, it's nice and everything, but...
We're not good at it.
Well, no, but nothing has happened during the day.
Right, so we wake up, it's like, what did you do? Well, I scratched my ass 5 minutes ago. What else? That's it. But we actually have had events happen, and we can discuss them now. So right now it's noon, as the crow flies. And so we had an experience at... I was raped at Gelson's.
Your wallet was raped at Gelson's.
The wallet's in my pocket. They had to go through me to get to it. So Gelson's is a market. It's a local chain.
And hold on, we were raped at Gelson's because I paid for those sandwiches too, and they were, well, at least mine was not good.
I think at this point, we just need to convert this into we do this at 5 p.m., we get a couple drinks in us, and we just start talking about grocery stores that are not located anywhere near where our followers live. Because I think that it's like, we could call it like supermarket shits. I don't know. It's really upsetting. But so anyway, Gelson's is a local, very kosher market in Southern California. I think that's the only place that they're located. On the upper end, pricing wise, but usually they're located in places where they're close to where people live, so you don't have to go out of your way. Like, there's a Gelson's by my old apartment that was the only real store I could walk to. There was like a neighborhood market where it was like basically a bodega or whatever those New Yorkers have. And there was Gelson's. So if you wanted more than like a slice of cheese that was cut last Thursday, you have to go to Gelson's to get something.
And it probably was still cut last Thursday.
Exactly. So we went in because I, in my own stupidity, thought, you know what? I've been to a nice one before. Maybe this one will also be nice. In this affluent area of Newport Beach. Thinking, okay, what's the worst that could happen? I know that they have deli sandwiches, which are good. They have like a real roast turkey and a real, it's kind of a special little setup that they have there. They have good poke bowls, and they're usually there's a sale.
I'll get on the poke bowls in a minute.
So first of all, we walk in, and they have a bar inside, a fully stocked bar with like wine and other drinks, which was not open yet because it's noon. And if you're a real alcoholic, you're drinking at home at noon, not at a bar. But they have a bar, and then you walk in kind of like a little narrow hallway back towards the deli. So we get back to the deli, and a very brusque lesbian saw me just walking over to the counter to see what they have and said, "You need a number." Like, this was like Roz from Monsters, Inc. And I was like, I've shopped at a Gelson's for the past 5.5 years of my life. No one's ever told me to get a number, but okay, fine, I'll get a number. So I get a number, and they're carving a turkey, making our little sandwiches and everything. And so when they're making them, I'm like, okay, you wait here. I will go to the meat department because we also want to get something for dinner. This is where the rape started. I walk into the meat area, and they had 4 pork chops, small ones, thin ones, like you would normally get at any store. By the way, Gelson's pork, really? What kind of kosher market are you? 4 pork chops for $18. The same 4-pack you could buy at Pavilions, Vaughn Safeway, or Ralph's Kroger, or anywhere else for $4. So already the pork is 4 times the price of any other store. They had a little small pork tenderloin, $18, where at Trader Joe's, that same pork tenderloin is $6 to $9. And so I'm looking, and I'm not seeing quality necessarily. Like, it's the same shrink wrap meat that you would see in any other store.
Yeah.
And then I start wandering down towards the steaks. two very small, like 3 to 4 ounce filet mignons, $53. They had some fillets that had been left out, probably for a week, that were manager specials. The manager specials were like, 5% off, some ridiculous discount for a already brown steak.
They were dry aged.
They were wet aged. They were wet and old, like the people who shop there. And then I go to the seafood, and they're very nice, but at the seafood, he's like, "Can I help you with anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine, thanks." They had a small fillet of salmon for $38, and I'm like, "This is not. It wasn't caught this morning, It was just packaged like any normal grocery store, but the prices are 3 to 5 times what you would see." So then you came and joined me, and you saw me having a minor panic attack in the meat aisle because I was like, I don't know what I can afford for us to cook for dinner. So we finally got one package of normal-looking ground beef, which is $10 a pound. And I was like, fuck it, I'm making spaghetti with meat sauce. I can't afford anything else.
But, okay. Yes, you made a very good point. I want to go back to the sandwiches just really quickly because that was my experience.
Okay. That was your lived experience?
Well, you were looking at all the meats. I was already just 2 through by the time that I had gotten the sandwiches. I was just ready to get out of there.
Right.
The man making the sandwiches was very nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was really thinking when what
He was very nice. I don't know what he was thinking.
Well, I ordered a brisket sandwich, and yes, I guess I was the dumbass who wanted it on sourdough, but I thought, sourdough seems usually a little sturdy, a little hardy. At least a little. He comes back with this limp bread and then proceeds to pour brisket juice on the bread and horseradish sauce on the bread. And I'm just like, so you're making bread soup. Okay. And then he carves this brisket that probably was sitting there. It looked nice, but it probably had been made 3 days ago because it was drier than you. And he carves off like 3 to 4 pieces of it and puts it on there. And then, so get this, two tiny thin pieces of sourdough, a little bit of horseradish sauce, 3 to 4 slices of brisket, and then some onions and mushrooms for $19. No, sorry, $17. It was $16.99.
Yeah.
For $17.
So the worst part is they reversed roles. You want your brisket to be moist, and you want your bread to be,
sturdy and
dry
crispy.
and sturdy and crispy. Instead, you got soggy bread and dry fucking brisket. Like, you gave me one bite of that, and it tasted like what they would talk about, like when you made a brisket back in the 50s and they cooked it all fucking day, and by that point it just been
There was no
nuked
salt,
recognition.
there was no pepper, there was no flavor to it. It tasted like dried
I could
meat.
identify that it was beef.
Yeah, it was dried beef. That was it.
Like jerky. Like, you can identify that it's beef, and it's it's fine. It's a fine snack, but you don't want to make a jerky sandwich.
So yeah, and then your sandwich at least looked.
The turkey was pretty good, but we've been to so many grocery stores and had wonderful sandwiches, including our favorite, Bristol Farms, which is another local store that no one's going to remember, that no one's going to notice.
Much better.
But Bristol Farms was designed to be like Harrods in London, and they fucking pull it off. Like, they have a Veuve display, but their sandwiches are $9.99, and they'll make like a pork belly banh mi that's really good, or they'll make a breakfast sandwich for $3.99 like yesterday, and it was great. It had bacon, it had egg, everything like that. Like, yes, some of their things are more expensive, but we have not missed their once. So the meatloaf we bought at Bristol Farms yesterday, pre-made, just you have to cook it, for $4.99 a pound, versus $9.99 a pound at Gelson's for just plain ass 80/20 ground beef. No seasoning, nothing.
After I got the sandwiches and I was already just like, I don't know why we're here. I walked over to you. You were having your mild panic attack in the meat aisle. We walked towards the vegetables. Everything was wildly expensive. They had green beans for $4 for like a tiny little sack. It didn't even look like a pound.
Right.
Brussels sprouts, tiny little sack, $4.99 a pound. Like,
right.
Or $4.99 for the sack.
Well, it's like you can get for $4.99 for 3 times as much. You can go to Costco and get really good Brussels sprouts. You can get a full stock of them for $3.50 at Trader Joe's.
Well, and then I didn't mention this to you. I looked at the limes because we're out of limes, so I was like, oh, maybe we need to get some. I looked at the sign and it said 3 for $2 each.
What?
And I'm like, wait, is it 3 for $2? Or is it just saying it's $2 each? Buy 3 of them. I don't like. What
Regardless,
does that mean?
if you go to the Mexican market like El Super, limes are 10 for $1. If you go to Trader Joe's, there's about 8 in a bag for $1.99. 3 for $2 for limes. Those limes better already be made into a pie. Like, there's no way in hell that is an acceptable price.
So before we bore them to tears, I have one last thing to say about this place. Because
I got a tie-in, but yes.
Okay, as we were paying for this overpriced bullshit, I look over and I saw the Poke Bar.
Right.
Did you see how much that cost?
No.
$19.99 a pound or whatever for your Poke Bowl thing. And I'm looking at the stuff and I'm like, it doesn't look bad, but that wasn't cut this morning. I guarantee you. That wasn't cut like 10 minutes ago when they opened. Like, that was cut 3 to 4 days ago. It's been sitting in its own nasty juices for like you can't charge that much for
warmed over cold fish.
Well, no, for sushi grade fish that has been cut probably 3 to 4 days ago.
Right, because in the same way of the other seafood where it's like, okay, it's fine. It's not like it's on ice. It's not like you're walking into like a beautiful seafood display at a nice grocery store. It's just kind of there.
I got food poisoning just looking at it.
Well, stay tuned for later in the podcast when Mitch has to drop the mic and run. The tri-tip, which is one of my favorite cuts of meat. It's again a very local thing. People over in the East Coast are just bored to fucking tears now. But if you don't have tri-tip, find a way to get it. Because you don't have to. There's no fat on it, but it's very good quality meat, and you cut it. You can make sandwiches out of it. It's good. It's an easy thing to roast. You don't have to cook it all day, low and slow. You can just cook it in the oven or grill it. Normally, a tri-tip is something like, I don't know. It's on the cheaper side of meat, just because it's not many people know it, and it's not that common. And so you go to Trader Joe's, and they have tri-tips 2-pack for $39. A 2-pack prime, which is the highest grade meat that you can buy at a grocery store, for $47. But each one will feed a family of 4 each night of the week. So you get 8 individual meals out of a $47 serving for the highest grade beef that the money can buy. Here they had one tri-tip, smaller than one from Costco, for $49 that could have fed a husband and wife. And so looking at that, it was like none of their prices resemble anything of reality, and it's not even nice enough to justify it. Like, it's not like, oh, that's like a beautiful apple. They're just a regular fucking apple. And I'm on their email list. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
So I got points. I'm on their email list, and the hottest thing that Gelson's has been doing has been virtual tastings of wine and gin and other spirits. So they used to have, this was one good thing about Gelson's back in like the early 2000s. You could go in the store, they'll give you a glass of wine, they'll give you another glass of wine, they'll talk about the wine, you can buy the wine there, that kind of thing. After 2020, none of that's possible. So you get to sit at home at 5 p.m. logged on with a bunch of old Jews who don't know how to use Zoom, and you get to virtually taste a wine with a bunch of people. If you ever thought it was over, that's the best indication that it's over. And speaking of over, I want to talk about the person who I really want to be our first guest on the podcast. And he'll do it. He'll do it. Especially on the topic of Jews. I want to bring Kanye on the podcast.
So we can get canceled?
Well, we have to be started to get canceled. So how are you going to cancel us? What are they going to do? I mean, honestly,
Colin will stop listening.
Colin has cut ties with the Thought Criminal podcast. Like, who else is going to cut ties with us? Gelson's? We've cut ties with Gelson's.
I'm never
Honestly,
stepping foot in that place.
After
ever
that
again.
experience at Gelson's, I was walking out and I thought, wow, Kanye made some points. He really did. You know? I just love that apparently Daily Wire and other places won't have him on, even though they were really excited about having him for promo. And I'm like,
I'm sorry. One last thing, just to rag on you, just for a minute, and then you can. I'm sorry. Dive right.
I'm
back
sorry.
into
Wait,
Kanye.
let me just step in the middle of your point.
I know, because I forgot to say it at the very beginning, and I should have, but I want to rag on you just for a second.
What did I do?
Because I love you so much.
Not according to our listeners.
The first and only time I'd ever been to Gelson's, which a month, 2 months ago, when I bought those avocados, and I was just like, I guess I have to spend this much on avocados.
I think you spent $20 on like 4 avocados.
Yeah, I did, and yeah, I made guacamole out of it. But after that, I was like, I told you, I never want to go back to Gelson's again. And this morning, when we finished the gym, you said, "Oh, let's maybe go to Gelson's," and I went, okay.
A different Gelson's.
I know, but I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm gonna break my promise to myself because I'm gonna trust him, and I was right. I was right not to trust your judgment. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Back to Kanye.
What was the point of that fucking interruption?
Because I have to give you shit. Is what
Why
I
can't
do.
Why can't you interrupt me in real life the way you interrupt me on the podcast? When we're driving there and getting in the turn lane, why didn't you say, no, I really don't want to go. Let's go to Pavilions. Let's go somewhere else instead.
Because you did make the argument that, well, this is a different one. Maybe they're better. Well, they're not.
Well, I love that I love that you go to their reviews, and there was a really unhinged review. Go to the Gelson's Newport Beach and look for a review by Karina O from 5 months ago. And she said, I'll just give you the first 3 lines. I was at this store today, 5:29 at 10:46 a.m. I bought an apple and 2 Persian organic cucumbers. The pound for Persian cucumbers was $3.99. When I checked out, the receipt showed $3.99 for 2 cucumbers. I wouldn't mind paying that since it's for my 2 fur babies, but has to be my choice, right? That's how it starts. Then it goes on to her having a confrontation with Jesus and Evangeline, the manager, and then Gelson's corporate responding to her and being like, we're sorry that's your experience. Can you email us at, fuckyou@gelsons.org and we'll pretend to send you a coupon.
Well, to her credit, it was supposed to be $3.99 a pound. She bought 2 cucumbers, which she weighed apparently herself, and it came out to be 0.6 pounds. And so they charged her for a full pound when it was barely half a pound. Anyway, to her credit. So she's not as unhinged. I would have been pissed off too.
What are you, her assistant? Like, why weren't you buying the cucumbers?
I would have been pissed off.
She would have sent you to order 2, and she would have come back with 1.
Anyway, I completely disrailed and that's nasty. I completely
You disrailed?
this conversation.
I want to bring up
this conversation,
God.
and I'm sorry. Go back to your point. I just had to give you some shit. Now, Kanye.
I just had to give you some shit. Now, Kanye. No, I think he would be a very interesting guest on our program. And so if any of you know him, like I know him.
And
but
still
no,
talk to him.
If any of you know him, please let him know we'd be happy to have him on the show. We have no advertisers. No one can cancel us. I just love that he is... I just love that his next audience is going to be like, whatever's left of Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I love that that's the next era. But I do have to say, I appreciate that he said something. You want to talk about Thought Criminal?
Say what he said, because I still don't even... Honestly, I didn't read the tweets or anything like that. I don't know exactly what he said. I just know that people were mad about it.
No, this is good. So this will be good. He had a tweet where he was off of Instagram because he was still talking about his kids and Kim Kardashian and all that stuff. I want to read the tweet because I think that that's important.
Well, I remember whatever the night before he said he was going to go DEF CON or something like that, and he had something that he really wanted to say, but I guess he wanted to ruminate on it for a little while longer before he actually put it out. So I saw that, but I didn't see exactly what was said. And then all of a sudden I see a bunch of people canceling him and even some conservatives saying, oh, how dare he say whatever he said.
Right.
So I don't know what
he was back on Twitter, which he had just gotten back on, and was talking about, thank you, Elon, everything like that. He said, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. And that's the tweet. I feel like I have to end that with the aristocrats.
That's what people were so mad at?
Yes.
So mad at?
Yes, that was everyone's upset because he was talking about he mentioned that, and then he went on another podcast and he didn't apologize. He said, I just want to talk about how it seems that some of the owners of these media companies and fashion labels who want me silenced are Jewish, and I have no problem with the Jewish community, but this seems to be a pattern. And as a black man who is a billionaire and trying to start a fashion line and trying to produce music and everything like this, there's something about this that doesn't seem right. And so the response was to blackball him in every way possible. And so he was removed from, the Balenciaga Adidas collaborations were stopped, even though those are both former Nazi apparel making companies. Like Balenciaga himself made dresses for Nazi wives. Adidas produced mini materials for the Nazis. In fact, the founder of Adidas used to sign off his written correspondence HH for Heil Hitler. So there's well-documented relationships there, but I think the fact that people got so upset about it means it's a thought criminal. It's a thing. It's like he's saying something. No one wants to debate him on this subject, and that's the part for me that means, well, are you saying what he says has merit? Because you're just not even, you're pretending like he said the most horrible thing in the world and then just trying to cancel him as quickly as possible.
Okay, so if that really is all that he said, I am going to liken this to speaking your becoming conscious of your unconscious bias, subconscious bias. They call it unconscious bias, but we've had that conversation before. It's supposed to be subconscious. Anyway, right. He's becoming conscious of something that is subconscious. So, for example, the whole point of subconscious bias is, okay, if every red-headed person I met, hint, hint, like you, was absolutely an asshole, horrible person, and I started to make the subconscious connection that anyone with red hair, I'm going to hate them and they're horrible people. That is called a subconscious bias.
Right.
So what he's saying is, all of these people did me dirty or are doing me dirty.
Right.
And they happen to have something in common, and now I'm becoming conscious of that thing that they have in common.
Correct.
That's basically all he said, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if he had just kept it as a quote-unquote unconscious bias and just treated him like shit, people would say, oh, we understand you have to unlearn this unconscious bias, but they wouldn't cancel him. Right? But now that he just said something like, oh, I noticed this about these people, does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Especially when the thing that he noticed was, hey, I feel like my career and my endeavors have been stymied because of this one group of people, then gets proceeded to be stymied and canceled openly because of his beliefs. It becomes this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that I don't understand. Now, some have said that he did this on purpose, wanting to, because people are like, oh, how could he's not a billionaire anymore now that the Adidas thing is done? Like he's nothing. All this. The thing that I see when I look at it is, well, that some people said was, well, he wanted it to end like this. He didn't want any more associations with these companies. He wants to get out of these contracts as quickly as possible and do this stuff all himself, which maybe will end up being more profitable him in the long run. But his music masters are mostly still owned by somebody, by record labels. And to get something off the ground for something like that is a lot of work. I just love that he said so many things over the course of his career that everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's a genius, he's a genius. Everything that he says is, is gold, which no one believes, or no one I think really believes. I think people pretend like they want to think that, but I don't even think he thinks that. But then as soon as he says one thing, it's like, they were saying that he's going to be responsible for a new wave of anti-Semitic violence, and that, just trying to tie the most horrible things, like you're going to see him in a Klan hood, running down the street, sponsored by Yeezy Donda Development. I don't know. It's just funny to me because I apparently the Daily Wire has also banned him, even though he's very good friends with Kansas, and so they banned him from coming on.
Friends with whom?
Candace Owens.
That's not what you said.
Candace.
That's not what I heard. I'm gonna listen back to this.
What did you think that I said?
You said Kansas.
Candace.
No, I heard you say Kansas. So I was
Candace.
like, is he trying to make a joke, or is he just? No, I know you know her name, but I was like, is he trying to be funny? Like,
this one is Kansas, and this one is Arkansas. America, explain. What do you mean Arkansas?
I'm gonna go back and listen to this and make sure I wasn't.
Well,
crazy.
Someone has to. But yes, so Candace is good friends with Kanye and has been supportive of him through this, even saying, hey, there might be a couple things we don't disagree on, but we disagree on, but he's my friend, et cetera, et cetera. But the part for me that's funny is that some of the Daily Wire contributors stepped out and they were like, he's an idiot and conservatives were stupid for ever supporting him or any celebrity, like how dare they, and some British fuck at the Daily Wire. But now he said in an interview yesterday, he said, hey, the Daily Wire won't even have me on for anything after this, even though they sponsored Candace's movie. Kanye was at the premiere with Kid Rock and Ray J, which is the weirdest Mad Libs I ever thought of. But I just don't understand why this isn't a great opportunity to, okay, if you guys want to address anti-Semitism head on, if you want to, put a pin in this for good, why not have him, Mr. Debate, Ben Shapiro, Mr. Debate, one-on-one with Kanye and talk about the history of anti-Semitism and about people in the music industry and everything like this. First of all, they would make more off of that than they have off of anything that they've ever done, any projects they've ever done. Second of all, I think it would be fascinating. I think it would be a good discussion for everybody, and it would, be like, okay, is he really a monster? I don't think so. Is there room for disagreement and discussion and things like that on the right? Of course there is. But instead it just looks like, well, you fell in line like every other corporation. And you're going to do all this free speech acts, but you're not really going to stand up for free speech. Just like those Black Rifle Coffee fuckers. Black Rifle Coffee. Oh, it's for the veterans, everything like this. Kyle Rittenhouse wears a Black Rifle Coffee shirt, and Black Rifle Coffee says, we don't support him or any white supremacy or anything like that. Threw him under the fucking bus completely. It's all like an act. Like, it's that fake patriot act that people do. And so I think the Daily Wire does a fake free speech act. And then as soon as there's someone who could draw not just a huge crowd, but a great discussion on, it's like throwing him under the bus and throwing Candace under the bus in the process. Candace. I think that I think her time there is going to be limited. I feel like that's going to not end well, even though she's their biggest draw, but that's just me.
Well, she's younger than us. Let's get her into the Carpe Forum. And
how old is she?
She might be your age. I say us. I think she might be
early 30s. Yeah, I think
she might be right around your
had
age,
a kid.
if not 29. But I know she's younger than me slightly.
Well, the one thing is apparently Kanye said he wants to buy Parler, which is owned by Kansas's husband. Now you got me saying it.
I think you actually said it the first time.
I don't know. I feel like I said the D, but I don't know.
You like to say the D.
Do you think that Kanye shops at Gelson's? Because I think they have one near Calabasas. Is he gonna? Did Gelson's cancel him too? Is he not allowed to go in and use coupons on Shabbat?
Gelson's has coupons.
They do. They send him out. They send him out with the virtual wine tasting. They used to have a coupon they sent in the mail for every $20 you spend, you get $5 off. It was a great fucking deal. Not anymore.
Well, anyway.
I would like to have Kanye on the show. Kanye, please reach out to us. I think it would be a fun and illuminating discussion.
I would like to have Candace join our team.
Whose team? Gay?
No.
Oh.
I want her to be part of our brand that we're making.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I mean, it'll never happen, but...
You can't just say, I'm putting...
dream.
Oh, you're stupid. You can't just say, I'm putting this wish out into the universe. It'll never happen. But, no. Haven't you read The Secret?
No.
Or manifest it. Damn it. You gotta manifest that shit.
Oh, manifest you.
I'm manifesting Kansas Owens. You know what? I'm manifesting lower prices at Gelson's.
Oh,
by the way, my Jewish friends have been laughing at this shit for the past 2 weeks because they think it's fucking funny. Like, the fact that Kanye said this, and I'm like, he's going to be headlining the ADL's next event or something like that. Like, they think it's funny. I think it's funny. It's a bunch of, very, it's a bunch of white people who are already uncomfortable with black people trying to find one to openly discount for the benefit of other white people. I don't know. That sounded convoluted. But, anyway.
Most everything you say sounds convoluted.
Well, usually people step on it. But anyway.
Have a great day and go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.